They said I was obsessed with a little creek, a 3-foot-wide ribbon of water in my backyard. Not a pool, not a fountain, not some grand landscaping feature. Just a real, living creek that had been there longer than the homes around it. And yet somehow, I was the problem. Not the HOA president digging trenches through clay soil. Not the man-made cascades they dreamed up. But me, with my little stream. Let me back up a second. I live on the edge of Willow Hollow Estates, in an older home that was here long before the HOA planted their beige boxes and gave themselves titles. My property backs up to a quiet, natural creek. Willow Creek Minor, I called it. Frogs lived there. Willows dipped low into the water. I kept it clean. It was peaceful, until Darlene Prescott showed up in a sash, literally. A hot pink sash that said, HOA President, making progress happen. She marched onto my lawn one Saturday morning with Craig, the HOA secretary, trailing behind her like a nervous intern. She pointed at the creek and called it a ditch. Mr. Whitman, we've determined this ditch is impacting community aesthetics and drainage. I blinked at her. You mean the natural creek that's been here for decades? It's unsightly, she said, waving her hand like she was swatting a fly. And it doesn't fit our vision. They wanted to replace it with something uniform, whatever that meant. Culverts, decorative rock. They even had a plan to build a whole system of ponds and channels on unstable clay soil. I told them, it's my land, my creek, and protected by law. But Darlene didn't care. She said their guidelines trumped my old deed. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I knew what was coming. The first official notice came the next week. They wanted a remediation plan in 30 days, or they'd do it themselves. Haley, my friend who works in a legal office, took one look and said, you need to document everything, right now. So I started. Photos, trail cam, certified letters. I wrote back, citing county code and environmental law. They replied with veiled threats, called me disruptive, uncooperative, even dangerous to property values. Then one day, I came home and found it. A berm. A 10-foot-long pile of dirt where the creek flowed off my property. It backed up water into my yard. My trail cam caught Darlene herself, pointing as 2 guys with shovels built the berm under her command. I sent another cease and desist. Her response? That little mud pile is a community enhancement, she said. Smirking. You should be thanking us for managing your runoff. You ever meet someone so confident in their ignorance, it makes you question reality? But it didn't stop there. They rolled out a massive project. The Hollow Cascades, a fake river system they claimed would solve all their drainage problems. They carved trenches through the hill above my house. Clay soil, no shoring, no vegetation, just bare cuts through unstable ground. I hired Dr. Leonard, a retired geology professor. He looked at the plans and said, this is ambitious, which is the polite way scientists say, stupid. His report predicted slope failure, erosion, flood risk, everything I already feared. I sent the report to the HOA. Darlene sent back a generic email. We consider this matter closed. Meanwhile, they were out there daily. Bulldozers, wooden bridges, decorative rocks. Darlene was always there too, directing like some low-budget movie director with her sash blowing in the wind. And then the sky broke open. A tropical system moved in. Days of non-stop rain. I cleared my culvert, cleared my creek, even took a shovel and carefully cut a small path in that berm just to keep the water from backing into my yard. I documented every second. By Saturday morning, Willow Creek was swollen, but steady, fast, brown, but flowing right where it should. The HOA's cascades? A full-blown disaster. I stood by my fence and watched their fake river turn into a churning nightmare. Water tore through it, dragging away boulders, snapping those cute little bridges, chewing through the banks like paper. And then, cracks in the lawns above. The first one split right through the backyard of Darlene's vice president's house, and then the earth slid. I watched their entire patio drop and crumble into the water below, like a sandcastle melting in real time. People were yelling, running. One guy came out screaming at the mess, while mud slid down into what used to be his yard. Darlene stood near the edge, soaking wet, still yelling orders like she could command the ground not to move. She looked like a soaked paper doll, her sash clinging to her chest like a joke from the universe itself. Emergency sirens wailed. Evacuations started. Homes were red-tagged. Driveways cracked. Patios vanished. It wasn't just damage. It was geological collapse. Because you can't stop clay soil from moving once it's waterlogged, and that's what they never understood. My property, dry, safe. Creek flowing, no damage, not a drop. The HOA was suddenly very interested in Dr. Leonard's report. Insurance investigators showed up, surveyors, lawyers. Everyone wanted to know what happened. I handed over my photos, my reports, my timeline. No commentary, just facts. The evidence spoke louder than I ever could. Darlene? She resigned 2 weeks later. So did half the board. Lawsuits followed. The HOA sued the contractors. Homeowners sued the HOA. Insurance companies tried not to pay. It was a disaster in every direction. And the hollow cascades. Nothing left but a muddy trench. They tried to fill it, but it's still there. A scar in the land, and a reminder of what arrogance costs. Meanwhile, my little creek, yeah, the one they mocked, still flows. The frogs came back. The willows bent back down. It's as alive and peaceful as ever. No HOA landscaping. No engineered runoff. Just nature doing what it's always done. You know, it's funny. They tried to kill that creek because it didn't match their fake vision. And in the end, it was the only thing that worked. The only thing that didn't collapse under pressure. So tell me this. Who was obsessed? The guy who respected the creek, or the people who thought they could dig a river into clay and pretend it was nature? I'd love to hear your take. Drop a comment. Ever had to stand up to an HOA? Ever deal with someone like Darlene who thinks a title means they own the earth? Because let me tell you, water doesn't care about sashes, and it always finds its way.